Thank goodness.
Welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG here with you for another episode. What's been going on, guys? What's been going on? I'm sure there's been a lot going on in the Hex ecosystem. I look forward to finding out what that is from you guys in the chat and also the guys here. I've been busy riding around Sicily. That's what I've been doing. I've been riding around Sicily on my Vespa. And had a couple of people ask me, what does this Vespa look like? So I've got a little video here for you. Let me just bring it up. I'm very proud of my Vespa, my 1973 50cc beast. It's not golden. That's right. It is not golden. I'm not there yet. I'm not quite there yet. I think the golden Vespa would be just for Richard Hart at this point, and maybe some of the other Hexicans, not for me. But without further ado, I will bring up the guys. Jexa.
Hey, how are you, buddy? How's things?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, going well. I thought you must have been grabbing a quick gelato. We're a little bit late to start, aren't we?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Because I've got a nice little bottle of Canotto.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what that is? You don't know what Canotto is?
Never heard of it.
Bro.
Can you get that in Australia?
You can get that in Australia.
Canotto, spelled with a K, is it? Canotto.
It's spelled with a C-H-I.
Ah, C-H-I.
C-H-I-N-O.
I'll check it out.
T-O.
I think I might have seen them. Yeah, I think I might have seen them at the local Italian joint.
It's sort of like it's like Coke-ish, but it's sort of like if you think about like sarsaparilla, or you think about Dr. Pepper, it's like another version of it's similar. It's not like sarsaparilla. I thought it might have been was like a sarsaparilla. If I say Coke, it's not like Coke, but if it's like a different version of that.
I'll check it out. Hey, how far are you from? Is it Sardinia? Is that?
Hey, Bluey.
Hey, Bluey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Are you at 43? Are you anywhere close to Sardinia? Is that around your neck of the woods?
It's not. It's I can get there. Why? Is there something going on? Are you going to Sardinia?
Well, no. Apparently everyone there, they're doing something right. It's got, like, when you look at certain places across the world, that's one of the places where they have the people grow to be or live longer than 100 years. So they've got a little
Yes.
cluster there. So I don't know what they're doing there, but you should go check that out. They're doing something
Bro,
right.
they're definitely not
Canotto,
drinking
mate.
Canotto. They're not drinking Canotto.
That
That's
looked like
for
really
sure.
fancy. So that looked like really fancy Canotto. Right?
It's San Pellegrino Canotto.
Oh, it's just San Pellegrino. Okay,
yeah.
what we get everywhere.
Well, San Pellegrino is actually
This is Italian though.
water like from the Alps or some shit like that. Like they use that water for everything they do.
No, I love Canotto. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I love it as well.
How are you, Sammy?
What's going on, Sammy?
Hey, good. How are you? Can you see me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Can you? Oh, I can't. My computer's crazy, you know. How are you guys? All right. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
You got your
Good.
bags packed yet, Sammy?
Yeah, getting started because it's only 1.5 weeks away, really. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
crazy.
excited.
Nice.
Hey, Louis. You getting
Yeah, I'm
excited?
yeah, totally. It's gonna be fun, hey? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and I think we've all got our hotels, and like
Yeah.
they sent out a little poster thing yesterday saying that it's still going on. They're just going to change the venues and stuff, hey?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know what.
happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in the background, but yeah, good news that it's still a go.
I think the
and
short
everyone's got their-
story is that Tony, the
Just before
organizer,
just before we get onto that, Bluey, we're going to have a good talk about PulseCon in a second.
okay.
But I found a video of a video of Richard Hart and Mashinsky from Celsius that no one's seen. Do you guys want to
Go
check
on
it
then.
out?
Sure.
No one's seen this video. It's crazy. It's crazy. You guys, I found it. I found it on the
All
internet.
right, let's go.
Let me just bring it up. 1 second.
Missed. Tossed a rock and he fucking missed. Goofy ass. Oh, these motherfuckers gonna cause an accident right here. Oh shit. Oh shit. Holy fuck, he fucking hit his ass hard. Just ran his ass the fuck over. There he goes.
Yeah, man.
So which one was Mashinsky?
The one,
Here's the one throwing
the
rocks
one
off.
throwing rocks, man. The one throwing rocks.
Right. Okay. You'd think he'd want to keep a low profile at the moment.
So, guys,
Very good.
PulseCon. What's going on with PulseCon?
Yeah. So, oh my
So
God.
Bluey
there's
was
so
going to
many
give us the skinny on it,
parties,
wasn't he?
Tell us, Bluey, what's going on behind the scenes, mate?
Oh, I've got no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but basically, I think it's just a case of, first off, I just want to say that I think Tony's been copping a heap of shit at the moment with all the memes and everything, and I think that's pretty unfair. Personally, I've only had really very good relationships with Tony, and from my view, I think it's basically he bit off more than he can chew. At the time that he made the conference, he thought Pulse was going to be out. He thought, he had very, very big dreams. And obviously, he just bit off way more than he can chew. And whether he took, I don't know what's happening in the background or whatever, but I think it's, Tony's one of those guys that just doesn't say no. You know what I mean? He's got that entrepreneurial, go out there and against all odds kind of do it. And which is really a big strength of, especially a lot of Americans have that kind of attitude. And, but then occasionally it doesn't work. And in those cases, you're wrecked and, or you leave other people wrecked.
Yeah.
So, Like I feel.
It seems
I feel
like it's been able to salvage. It seems like it's been like they're making it come together. So, you know, it was just the old
so
conference place, a difference in conference place. That's it.
Yeah, so they're just changing the venue. So it's still going ahead. Everything else is going ahead. Just the venue change. So we're going to get an update as soon as they know where they're going and what they're doing. So yeah, but there's still heaps of parties. Like every day there's a party. It's still going to be rocking. It's going to be awesome fun.
And
Yeah, I
Sammy
think
and Blue Bum will be there.
Yep.
Go meet them in
That's
person.
right.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Hey,
send you some
shit.
videos so you can play it on the late show. Because it's too late for
And
us.
I know-
We'll be out partying or drunk somewhere in the bushes.
It's
Seen a few
early
of
for us. Yeah. So did we
I know a
start
few
an hour
people
late?
in-
Did we start an
No.
hour late today? No.
Nope.
So what time is it in Melbourne right now?
1:30,
Would be nine,
No.
yeah,
9:30,
quarter
9:45.
10, quarter 10.
So don't we start at 8:30 in Melbourne?
Right.
That's how I'm.
Always
Okay.
9:30.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, send it, mate. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Horny.
It's one of your Barbie photos. Horny hexagon.
For postcard, I made it.
Nice.
Cool.
Clear.
That's cool.
So what's the rundown? So Nagabo's increased the size of his mansion party now. He's gone even harder with that one. Is that true?
I don't know.
He's on the 9th house. So not Zuki not got on him. Nagabu's having a mansion party at 9th. We started 50. Blah blah. And yeah.
Sammy, you have the world's worst internet.
Like fully. It's like fourth world internet.
No.
So we didn't get any of that, Sammy, unfortunately.
Hang on.
Oh, she's out. Yeah, so I don't know. I honestly don't know what all the events are over there. All I know is Nagabo's got a mansion party. There's the golf tournament. And then I think DJ Lethal and the Power City guys are throwing a bit of a party as well. That's about all I know. But I know there's a few people in chat that are heading over there. So, yeah, have fun, guys.
I'm just going to...
Be over there as well. Travel it easily from...
So
issues.
somehow Unwrecked has infected Sammy with his shitty internet. And now Sammy's internet was fine while Unwrecked was on the show, and now her internet all of a sudden sucks. I don't know what's going on.
Let's be honest, hers has never been great.
Yep.
Do
do you know what I reckon? I've got a theory on Sammy's internet connection. I think she's got like people in the house eating up the bandwidth while she's streaming. That's what
possibly.
I reckon.
Bit of Netflix watching going on, you reckon?
Yeah. Some torrents going in the background.
You're back, Sammy. On the phone now, are we?
Are you there?
Maybe let's do audio only if you can hear us, Sammy.
So can someone? I haven't looked at the hex price in a few days. So what's going on with that?
I think we're just lockstep with the rest of the market, to be honest. As much as people like to think we're not correlated, we're going up and down with the lows of the market.
Currently, we're correlated. You're saying?
Yeah. Sammy, have you got some headphones you can pop in?
If I'm making noise, I'm just doing with my phone because my Mac is just an asshole and my internet's an asshole. I'm so sorry about that. I've got massive problems at the moment. You want me to put my my headphones in.
Audio is no good. Do you know why? Because Restream is not really optimized for mobile phones. So if you're using Restream on the mobile phone, unless there's audio cancellation, in the browser you're using, it's ain't working.
Yeah, oh, I've got
Someone's saying Hedron's making a bit of a tear at the moment. So let's have a quick
Tangent. What's going on, brother?
Yo, yeah, Sammy's audio was wrecked. That was wrecked. What's up? Who's wrecked? Who's wrecked? Who's not wrecked? I'll tell you what's not wrecked. Oh, wait, actually, have you guys talked about the saving of the conference? Is that? That's
yeah, that's what we touched on
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any comments on that? Any comments?
I haven't really heard much about it. And whenever there's like excessive drama in the community, I actually actively avoid it. Like if I see tweets and tweet threads comments that is like where shit's just getting like weird, I just don't even read it. So
people really love to put the boot in, don't they? Like that's a bit.
It's the internet. It's the internet though. Like we have to understand where we are.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no consequences for putting in the boot. There's no consequences, right?
Yeah.
Those people, if they saw
Peterson,
if they saw people in person, it's very unlikely that they would say or act in the same way.
True.
Peterson talks about that shit, man. He says that like if you're in person and you're gonna definitely cop a punch in the face for what you're saying, you would be more careful with your words. So yeah, it's true.
So guys, this is the Hex Late Show for all the viewers. Shout out to the people in the chat. We've got 80 people watching right now.
I gave a massive shout out in a Twitter Spaces I was in earlier. Bob Lagai did a Twitter Spaces and I shouted out that we would be live now.
Awesome. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate it. Hex Late Show, we're dedicated mostly to talking about Hex and Hex-related topics. However, we do deviate quite often from
into the forest.
But for those who are not sure, and this is the first time that you're tuning in and you're not sure exactly what Hex does, what Hex is, it's a token that basically allows you to become a miner of that token. You can lock up the Hex token and become a miner. Depending on how long you lock it up, you get more hash rate, essentially. So if you lock up your Hex token, you can earn mining rewards in terms of Hex. And that's basically what it does. It's sort of the most similar thing in the legacy system that you would find in the banking legacy system would be like a term deposit or a CD, a certificate of deposit, where you lock up your money at the bank and then they pay you some interest. That's the thing in the legacy system that it's most similar to.
43. I was doing some math on. I was looking at the ICOSA Hex ratio and doing some math on that shit, and it was like a little trip down memory lane going back because I had almost completely forgotten about longer pays better, bigger pays better. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you've been in Hex for so long, you actually forget what it's like to be new to Hex and for that to be something that you actually look at and calculate.
Yep. Longer pays better for sure in Hex. Pays better for sure.
Hot off the press is Hedron is pumping. So
can we pull up a chart, someone?
Nice.
I haven't got a great one, but it's up about 14% on the day, which is totally counter to what the rest of the market is doing. I think ETH's up about 2%. Same with Hex. So it's gone on a little bit of a
dude,
pump.
that's crazy. I'll share a screen. That's nuts. I have to admit that are you seeing that at 43?
Yes. Yep. It's on screen.
Maybe my shit's a little bit delayed because I can't see that yet. But anyway, I have to admit, I actually used a lot of my Hedron for, things like buying We Are All the SA and trying to create liquidity pools and shit like that, and other things, and staking it into the pool and that sort of thing. So I actually don't have a shit ton of Hedron left to dump on y'all, which I guess is the point, right?
Well, that's you lock
that's
it up
exactly
in the
the
staking
point.
pools and you get more of it back.
I can see Blue Bum just smiling in the background.
He's got an I told you so coming, has he? Is it?
He's got a cat on his lap that he's stroking right now.
I could go on. Oi. Careful. I could go on mint some more, like as in. So I mean, I guess that was one of my theories with Hedron was, I'm never gonna be like super reverse wrecked if I sell some or use some, because I've got more on the way, right? So it makes me feel a little bit freer, like a little bit less scared to use it or sell it. So not that I ever do like massive.
Do you remember back in the day when tips of about 50,000 hex were flying around on Telegram?
Yeah,
it wasn't worth much.
Yep.
Yeah,
I used to give away. I used to give away 1,000. I used to give away, I think, 1,000 hex on every stream I did on D Live.
I got one of those.
5,000. I can't remember. I can't remember whether it was 1,000 or 5,000. But like, what's that worth now? Even at this like 90% dip price, 5 cents times 1,000, 50 bucks. Actually, that's not that crazy. That's still not that crazy.
No, but at the all-time high, that was $500.
500, but yeah. That's half a grand US every stream. Yeah.
Yep. So I think you just got to be mindful of that. It's fine when everything seems cheap, that you can just splash it around and waste it a little bit, but can catch up with you if you're not careful.
I've got a question for people out there in the chat. Does anyone actually use their crypto to buy stuff? If they do, like I'm talking direct, like merchants that accept crypto.
I do. Fuck yeah, I do.
I do all the time.
Yeah, throw it in the chat. People are interested to know what is it? What can you buy with just crypto? What can you buy with crypto? And obviously, hang on. Let me just BitPay. Fuck BitPay, man. BitPay wants to scan your face now. If you want to use BitPay, they want to scan your face.
Fuck that.
Got it? So yeah, fuck that. Like some third party having a digital scan of your face, like some we don't know who they are. We don't know what they're going to do with that data. Just going to scan your face. Yeah. Fuck
is that an option for using BitPay, or is that just
that's what you need? It's compulsory. At least it's compulsory in the European Union, at least.
Bro, I don't know what it's
wild. It's crazy, hey? So they're obviously being pressured by authorities to implement that. Because I don't believe that was the case previously. I mean, I don't know. I've never really used BitPay, but that's crazy, hey? Face scanning. But you don't even get a face scan if you go to the bank, right? You go to the bank, open the bank account. You don't need to get your face scanned. These motherfuckers want to scan your face. They're going to want some blood soon. They're going to want DNA.
My concern with all the adoption that is coming at the point of sale. So we just heard in Australia there's a whole heap of servos that have rolled out. I think it's a Crypto.com terminal or some affiliation with Crypto.com.
It's somewhat related to Crypto.com. Yep.
Yeah, so you can go now pay with your crypto. My concern with that is it's not using pure Bitcoin rails or crypto rails. It's inserting a Crypto.com in the tail end of it. So
it's like fake, end up with those. It's like fake crypto rails. That's right. We're going to
end up with those We'll end up with those choke points because I don't know whether they can do this. If you're just coming in off the street and you're just sending it from a proper decentralized wallet that you've got the keys for, how do they? It's the same as cash, really, isn't it? So maybe they can put restrictions on the merchant. I don't know if they can put restrictions on the customer. Maybe they do start to do things like.
You'd hope it's anonymous. Like you'd hope that you can just go in there and you just scan. They show you a QR code, you scan it, and then they know it's paid, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly right. You'd think it'd be treated like cash, but history's sort of showing that maybe it won't. Like if they're
because technically they can still trace it on the blockchain, right? Like as in, so they can say, yeah, we'll accept it, and as long as it's paid. And then if authorities want to track like where that money came from or whatever, they can do chain analysis if they really want. It's not really the merchant's responsibility. Just like I think what you said about them accepting cash is the perfect example, right? That's the analog.
Yeah. So if it's treated like that, all well and good. But if they start doing stupid things like you've got to give ID or provide some sort of some KYC at the point of sale, that's going to be pretty crap. So
hey, another company that accepts crypto for their products is Trezor, the hardware wallet manufacturer.
Philip Plein, Trezor. There's heaps of places. But even if the place doesn't directly accept crypto, you can still pay with crypto. Like there's other ways, and I've actually never used BitPay unless at the checkout it like forces you to use BitPay a bit, like how you know how sometimes you go, I want to pay with crypto, and then the way it does it, the gateway is like through Coinbase or BitPay or whatever like that. But I've never actually
But at that point, then you should just use a credit card, shouldn't you? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like if that's
no,
that's
that could just
wanting.
be no. But you can still that can be the way that is the payment is being facilitated, but it still doesn't impact your anonymity. Like as in, it's the merchant using BitPay, like BTC Pay Server or Coinbase or whatever. It
sort of does affect anonymity because there's going to be a delivery address attached to.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But do those two things see each other? Like as in, do the pay server and the merchant, they'd have to collude, right? To put those two pieces of information together.
Or get hacked.
Or subpoenaed. Yeah. You're right. You're right that there is a threat vector there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't trust it. I don't know about you. I don't trust it.
Yeah. So I think like the adoption's good, and it's going to be nice to be able to pay using crypto for things. I think that's we definitely want to head there. That takes us one step further away from relying on banks and things, as long as I guess we do it in the right way. So I guess it's upon all of us to make sure that we help usher that in as well. If you just leave it up to all the Coinbases and crypto.coms, you'll get the shit sandwich that they serve up where it inserts them back in the middle. So I guess we've got to we're going to make a concerted effort to support the projects that do it in the correct way. And if we can get
apparently
peer-to-peer
apparently there's a pizza shop in Footscray in Melbourne that accepts BTC. You just got to hope that payment goes through, man, because last time I checked, you're lucky if a BTC transaction goes through in 10 minutes. Which is about the time
20 minutes to make a pizza, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, pizzas are super quick, man. Pizzas get cooked in like probably about 7-8 minutes.
Yep.
You wouldn't have thought a pizza shop in Footscray would be accepting crypto, hey? It's pretty cool. That'd be near you.
I think they probably accept zero conf because what are the odds? What are the odds that someone would actually be able to fake how many people do you know that could actually fake broadcast a transaction to the network that's actually not a real transaction? It's harder than it sounds. It's not like, do you know what I mean? You would need to be broadcasting something to the network that's not a real transaction.
Yeah, I think it'd be. I think the average person is not going to be doing that. And
I think the average person, it'd probably be more just as likely that they get given counterfeit bills, or that that the person calls up their bank and says, "Oh, look, this transaction was fraud. I want to do a reversal." Like, I think the risk is low that someone's going to pay with crypto.
And I think the person that can do it, the person that has the skills to do it, isn't going to do it for a pizza.
Also,
I think it's fair to
there
say. I think it's fair to say that there's only one pizza that you would roll back the chain for. One
are
pizza
cafes,
purchase, you'd roll back
which is the original one, the original
the
one.
original one, yeah.
Yo, there are cafes here in my city where you can sit outside and eat the food and shit, and theoretically you could just get up and walk away. So, and that doesn't even require you to have any technical ability of faking transactions onto the Bitcoin network. So, it's like there's an element of human to human trust when someone comes into your store that I don't think you need like actual confirmed Bitcoin blocks to trust that to extend the trust to that person. I think in a direct society like that, face to face, I think there's already elements where people could take advantage of that and don't.
Are you saying you would just let someone pay and then walk away before a confirmation?
Yeah, like zero conf. So like you see that the transaction has been broadcast, but it hasn't been included in any blocks yet necessarily. And like you said, because of that thing, because the blocks are distributed, right? You might only have to do that if it's like taking a particularly long time and the customer's getting annoyed that they're having to wait around. So that even makes it an even smaller percentage of the time that you even need to do that, because sometimes the blocks are quick enough that, you know what I mean? I don't issue.
That's fine for a pizza, but then when you get bigger transactions, it's a different story. And that's why I think...
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why I think the Crypto.com solution has been inserted into the mix, because they'll probably wear the risk of the crypto side. They'll take a fee for wearing that risk, I assume. Yeah, bit of good and bad in that, but yeah, it's good. I think it's better. It's good to see things like that. Hopefully it puts crypto in the hands of more people as well. So that's what we need ultimately.
That was Sammy that brought up that story, wasn't it? Sammy, you were the one that sent us that video. That was awesome.
They did. I did see a news article and they said Australia's biggest service station, and I'd never heard of that service station.
Same. We don't have it over here. And they even mentioned WA. They were like including Western Australia, and I was like, shit. Sorry, you're with me. Yeah, you're with me. Yeah. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. And I've spent a fair bit of time over east in like Sydney and Adelaide and Melbourne, and I've still never seen it. Although I guess I don't really pay attention when I'm rolling into service stations. and their branding does actually look very similar coloring to BP, doesn't it? So I may have actually driven into it assuming it was a BP.
I don't know whether we want to start. Here you go.
I was going to ask Bluey, what has ICOSA rewards been doing in the last week? We talked about it last week, and the yield was very, very high for I think one in particular.
Insanely high.
So what's been going on in the last week? Have we seen like a correction in the yields?
Yeah, it's come down. I'm not exactly. It's kind of erratic, but that first day was massive, especially for the Watsa. But yeah, it's just kind of, and also obviously, like the people are still selling HSIs for ICOSA, and so that's giving the ICOSA stakers headroom for that. But that's even kind of like going down. So I think I think about 4,000 HSIs were sold to the contract. So auctions are going to be off tap in like 85 days or whatever it is. And yeah, it's the amount of the amount you get is not huge. Well, it's a big, but it's also like it's in ICOSA, and so once that comes out, you'd think that as everyone getting their hands on that, ICOSA is probably going to drop on that 90-day period and then the 180-day period. But who knows? You know, people might take.
Someone just put in chat. So is it Kaiser? If you can pop that comment up. About can someone explain why people are selling ICOSA at these prices? See that 143. So, am I right, Bluey, in saying if you send a HSI into the contract, you should be getting a certain amount of ICOSA that adds up to the value of the cost of the stake, which according to this may be around the $1.90 mark. Is that
That
true
sounds
statement?
right. Yeah. It's actually,
Yeah, so
it
obviously
depends on the USD price. So it's more to do with the Hex ICOSA price rather than anything to do with USD. But yeah, I think it's around $1.90 is that's the ceiling price. So that means that it's cheap. That would, if it goes over that, it would be cheaper to sell the HSI to the contract to get the ICOSA. But at the moment it's easier or cheaper just to buy off Uniswap.
Yeah. So the thing that I was having a private chat with a few other Hexicans today, and we're just talking about liquidity pools, and we started talking about Maxi and Hedron and ICOSA. And the thing that I hadn't twigged on at this point in time with ICOSA is the reason why we like Maxi and Deci is you get the benefits of a 15-year stake with Maxi, but you get that liquidity edge where you can sell it if you need to. And every time I talk, and we talked about this last week, where someone said, well, would you do HSIs now or would you do native stakes? And we said, okay, well, I thought HSIs would be good for your longer ones, natives just for your shorter ones. What I didn't realize is ICOSA is the liquidity for your long stakes. So you may have a 15-year stake and you want to exit that stake. You can exit and use ICOSA as the liquidity to do that. So it basically makes your 15-year stakes or your longer stakes liquid. Would you agree with that statement? If ICOSA gets to that price.
If ICOSA gets to $1.90, yeah, but it's going to be up down. Anytime it goes over that price, people are going to start buying HSIs, sacrificing it, and then selling that ICOSA. So it's a price ceiling. And it's in terms of the Hex ICOSA pair, which is why that Hex ICOSA pair is so within a range. It can't go too much above a certain Hex ICOSA price.
I would actually call it a magnet rather than a ceiling, because it kind of pulls it back. It doesn't actually cap it off. It's not like a boundary like a ceiling. It's more that there's an incentive to draw it back down. So I've actually been calling it a magnet rather than a ceiling in terms of that boundary side.
Okay.
I'm using an analogy a lot lately with liquid loans because I understand how liquid loans works in depth, and I see a lot of the same similarities with the way the structure is set up, so that you get like a hard price peg where it can only go up so much, and then the market is forced to arb it back down because it just makes sense to do that. So you get price floors and ceilings, and you'll bounce in between those that floor and that ceiling within that range. And I hadn't really sort of thought about it too much like that with ICOSA, but now looking at the chart and you can see it's ranging really well. And hopefully if it keeps doing that, that would be that liquidity option for you. If you desperately wanted to get out of your stake and you didn't want to sell your NFT or whatever, that
well, I think your better option in that case is probably selling the HSI, like on OpenSea or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you got to wait for a buyer. This is one of the things I think is the best thing about ICOSA is that it's actually the first time now that there's effectively an open market at all times. So you don't have to try and find a buyer for your HSI. It's a universal buyer at any time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, true. You're just going to probably... Yeah, true, actually. And even if it isn't at that point where people are arbing it or whatever, so you'd be selling it for a discount, but you're saying that it's maybe you might be, you might be, depending on depends how desperate you are to sell it, right? But at least there's always a buyer. It's not like NFTs where you like their floor price is a lie. Like it depends on whether there's someone willing to buy it or not. Here, there's always a market for it. Yeah.
I want you guys to try and fault this logic, right? this is to do with this thing that we're talking about, even though I know I promised Mango Junkie was like, fucking please talk about anything other than ICOSA, but it's there's a reason why it's a hot topic at the moment. It's it's intriguing, interesting, and positive for Hex. So what is stopping me or someone else, anyone in the Hex having Hex or buying Hex, locking it into a stake, tokenizing it, selling it into ICOSA, like go 5. Like you max the stake out, put it into, then you get the ICOSA out, you use that ICOSA to rebuy Hex, go 5 with that same. So you're basically looping it around, and you just keep looping that mofo until you have locked up like all the Hex into 15-year stakes. So
there's nothing to stop you. There's nothing. In fact,
price slippage and gas fees are the only. So on a round trip, there might be a small cost to doing it, but the benefit that you're doing to yourself and the community to effectively lock up the Hex without actually having to lock it up. Like it's locked on the Hex network, but it's not locked for you. Like you're still liquid.
No, but you're generating a lot of ICOSA that you're going to have to sell.
But, yes. Yeah. So obviously the scale that you do it, that's why you have to keep looping it. You can't just do it in one big hit, otherwise you just crash the price.
Even if you just keep looping it, you're going to keep introducing more ICOSA to the market, and then you've got to sell that on the DEX, and that's going to push the price down. And that's that price floor on the price.
So you're saying there's a limit.
So
you're saying there's a limit. There's a limit.
That would be great for the Hex price. I think that would be great for the Hex price, but not great for the person doing it.
Yeah, you would end up getting to a point where you've created this big arb opportunity for someone else to do it, but you're gonna.
But then remember, even if you are doing that, so you're arbing it and you're just hitting that limit all the time, right? Like every time when it's not on that limit, you're doing the arb and pushing it back down onto that floor or ceiling, whatever you want to call it. Then if we agree that it's price positive for Hex, if you were to do it enough, as the Hex price goes up, it drags the ICOSA price up with it. So even though you're bouncing off that floor is increasing.
Yeah. Not if the inflation of ICOSA is greater at a greater rate than the inflation of Hex.
But in terms of the liquidity,
does that contract actually make ICOSA out of thin air? The HSI buying one.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the part that I was missing. Then I see what you're saying. If you're doing that too much,
so what you're talking about, Tangent. What you're talking about there is something that I would love to see the OA do.
There's lots of stuff I'd like to see the OA do, brother.
That also exists for the Hedron price. Once Hedron gets to a certain price, then it's like incentivized for people just to make stakes and lock them up.
Yeah.
Although that comment I just made doesn't really make any sense, because the OA doesn't need ICOSA. The OA doesn't need ICOSA to lock up if it wanted to. The OA is not locking up for a reason.
Also, 43, two things, right?
Yield by not
one, we just worked out that it can't be done at scale, right? So you don't need a massive Hex holder to actually implement this strategy. And number two, the risks are low. Like it's not like I've said in the past, like the OA is like probably the only person that can pump the shit out of the Hex price with very limited risk, because there's no one to dump on them. Right? Like there's no threat of someone bigger than them dumping. Whereas in this case, it's not like that. The risks are so tiny, whether it's the OA doing it or just a whale or even just a regular Hex person. I think the risk profile is not such that it needs to be the OA. Does that make sense? So just for those two factors, can't be done at scale, and the risk is not really requiring an OA style entity to do it.
Are you going to try this? Tangent?
I mean, yeah, I've already done it a little bit. Like, I mean, when I was doing it first by accident, like as in, you know what I mean? Like I didn't really know I didn't know that was the loop that I was doing. I was doing it for the ARB. Like I was doing it for the ARB opportunity, like where, do you know what I mean? I was just messing around with this idea of, because it was intriguing to me that the price did almost immediately start to range very tightly in terms of the Hex to ICOSA ratio. And I was like, what are these bounding forces? And then when I saw, and I'm like, once you've got a price chart that you know is reliably moving between two prices, that you're like, okay, this is the channel, like this is the range. You, as a trader, I'm like, that's pretty dope because I can buy here and sell here, then buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, and you're just increasing your bag of both. You're just doing mad bag increase, and as long as you're trusting that it will flick back and not just go off and trend in one direction, that's what would fuck you up. Then you're left holding the bag.
You're talking like a percent. So that's
a few
usually the
percent.
range.
That's huge. You can
maybe
scale
one.
that up.
Maybe one to
like
1.5%.
Say a percent in each direction. So if you're going boundary to boundary, it might be 2%.
Yeah, possibly.
Like say if you picked a 2% range and you're just waiting for it to go on either side of that boundary, and dude, with 2%, if you're doing like say a 10 grand, if you did a 10 grand stack that you're doing that with, that's like you're building your stack of each at each boundary by $200. Is that right? Yeah, $200.
Markets have a way of.
I know. There's a risk that you're like, this is sweet, and when you go to do it, it'll be the one time that it doesn't respect the fucking channel, and you get wrecked.
Okay, so
like it's
if it, actually, I won't say what I was going to say. Gives away a bit too much effort. So
please don't. Save
that for the green room. Save that for the green room.
I think I know what you were going to say.
Yeah. I'll hold that.
Go 43. What's up?
Oh no, dude! I was just saying, save it for the green room. I want to hear all about it.
Mate, last week when I started like yapping my big mouth about the Hex Icosa pair. Before that, I was getting like really good LP fees and stuff. And then after I told you, and I might have told another person or two, like my rewards just like shot right down.
Sorry, man. Man.
You're fully front running me now. Like you're doing it in a very smart way. But it's like, you can see that chart as well. Like there's just been a massive thing of liquidity. Like it's just a big deal, guys. That liquidity chart.
I have no idea who that could be, man.
I think it's probably a few people by now. But yeah.
There's I did notice the total LP is like 270k. Now obviously that fluctuates heavily as hex price moves up and down because they're pegged together. So when they both move up or they both move down. So the amount of LP in there, obviously every percent that the hex price moves, that LP pool moves by 2. And so it's not actually necessarily 270, but that's say 300k, that's still not that huge, is it? Like in terms of an LP.
It's enough though. It's enough to get you a nice bit of
definitely enough. It's definitely enough.
Yeah.
Depends
how much you're trying to trade.
That wasn't a criticism. That wasn't a criticism of the pool. I was just saying in terms of like being able to compete for being part of that LP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I done a trade. Was it? I think it was Hedron to Icosa, and there was quite a lot of slippage. It wasn't a massive buy. So I think I still got 2% slippage or something like that on less than a 5k trade.
Also,
so it's not
Bluey, to put your mind at ease or to make you feel better, man, if you're still there, is that I noticed for myself that because the hex price, you can see it behind me, the hex price has been over the last like 24 hours, the hex price has been very low volume, very low volatility. And I believe that that's something that actually drives how much fees you're making in that LP. You need hex to move so that the other one can then move to catch up, and then so that pair becomes more that there's more movement in the pair when there's big movements in hex that then need to be arbed. So don't fear too much. I think the lower fees that we've received in the last 24 hours is more because of hex's subdued price movements more than the LP being flooded with new participants. But I mean, we may have fucked it now though.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what are your thoughts? Like Mayo's saying, "G'day Mayo, how you going, mate?" Thoughts
What's up, Mayo?
On, bottom call that Richard Hart said
Oh yeah, bro.
2.5 cents. Now I didn't like what was this?
Secondhand. We're hearing it secondhand.
Secondhand. Okay.
So it was dollar cost crypto.
Okay.
So dollar cost crypto went on a stream. And
this is the dumbest. I can't even believe we're speaking about this. So Richard Hart, when he was drunk, said the bottom was in.
No. He said drunk. He said drunk and sober and while driving a Lambo and while slamming girls, like it was like literally at all times. He said it. He reckons. He said it at 6 different, completely critical and completely different in different mind states: happy, sad, drunk, high, all of the above in each different mindset. He said.
Did he say when he blew his load?
The bottom's in.
As he's busting a nut. It's like the bottom's head. The bottom's head.
Wait, DCC.
Yeah, he's calling out to the other room. He's calling out to the other room. Dollar cost crypto's like, man, the walls in this hotel are paper thin, brah. Like, so I know. Look. This is hearsay.
Hey, the bottom could be in. The bottom could be in for Hex. The bottom could be in for Hex.
I fucking hope so, man. It's been brutal.
Okay. So even if the bottom's not in, was it? It wasn't the Fresh Fit show. It was the one after that he done. I don't even know who the dude was.
Jay Waller. Jay Waller.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, he even said there. He said, "Look, I told all my friends to load the boat."
All my Saudi friends. Do you think his friends are from Saudi Arabia? Are they Saudi friends, or they're just?
I don't know if they were Saudi's friends. Icelandic friends, or
yeah,
I don't know.
He did say that. Yeah, he did say that, which is close enough. He's saying, "I'm telling all my friends to buy, not financial advice." Yeah, I mean, like, it's
maybe it's in, maybe it's not. It's just all guessing, and so no one knows.
Yes, no guarantees. No guarantees.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If ETH shits the bed, it'll drag, if Bitcoin and ETH shit the bed, it'll drag everything down. Like you can't look at our chart and say it hasn't been tied to it to some degree.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I think as a community, I would like to push. I know that most of the time when someone says, as a community, we should do this, I'm like, dumb, you're not actually considering all the implications of this. Like, I heard someone, I'm not going to call them out. I heard someone say, hey, we should start making this campaign where everybody stops trading Hex, like no trading on Hex. And I'm like, you're a dumbass. Like, that makes no sense at all. If no one's trading it, it won't even be like respected as an asset. Like, you have to have trading on an asset. You can't, like, what? The price chart's just going to stop. And do you like the price as it is now? I hope you do. Because if there's no trading, that means there's no price action. So that was dumb. But so I hope this doesn't sound as dumb. In my mind, it doesn't. I think as a community, we should push, and no offense to the person that said that, if they're watching and shit, I actually like their content. So I think we should push. I'll tell you in the green room. So in fact, I'll type in private chat. But anyway, not only because I don't want to disrespect publicly, but some people will know who I'm talking about. So I think we should start pushing. We should start pushing hard on postpone the merge, and we should present it as if not as hexagons, but as ETH. Like, I'm an ETH user and I'm concerned. Postpone the merge. Hashtag postpone the merge. Because in my opinion, it would be a lot better if Pulse launches first, so we can at least maintain the narrative, beat ETH 2.0 to market with its own feature set, the biggest airdrop in history. Because we lose both those narratives if we don't. Because there will be this ETH proof of stake, proof of work fork. That shit is almost certain now. There's like a big camp of people who are well respected who are going to push the proof of work, maintain that fork. And so that one's going to be the biggest airdrop in crypto history, will be when that fork happens. So we lose the biggest airdrop narrative, and we lose the beat ETH 2.0 to market with its own future set. We lose both those narratives. But if we can act like concerned little citizens and drive this narrative of like, you must postpone, this is irresponsible, and buy more time for Pulse to launch. I don't know if you guys think that's like unethical or dirty tactics, but I think it's quite.
I just don't think it's going to happen, mate. They'll go when they're ready.
I don't know, man. They do listen to their. I know they've got a little bit of like engineering pride, and they're reluctant to postpone. But I think if there's enough community pressure, you'll see they are bitches. Ultimately, they
Yeah,
are
but
little
what-
Barnsley
if
bitch
you-
boy betas.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter if ETH merges or Pulse Chain comes out? Which one's first?
I just explained it. We lose two of the biggest narratives. We lose both of them in one hit.
Is
Did
that
you listen
enough?
to what I was just?
Is that enough for
Is
it
that-
to matter?
Is that enough? Is that enough? Losing the
Yeah,
two
is
biggest
enough.
narratives of Pulse Chain. Is that
Well, you're
enough
saying
of a
you're the two
reason?
biggest
What
narratives.
hang on. What do you think
You're
the two
saying
biggest
they're the two
narratives
biggest
of Pulse
narratives.
Chain are?
I'll say, okay, so what do you guys think are bigger narratives of Pulse Chain than world's biggest
no, I
airdrop?
haven't- I haven't thought about it.
So for me,
about it
it's
recently.
But it's still an airdrop.
I would say the
cheaper
biggest.
and
I would
faster.
say
That's
I would say the biggest thing about Pulse Chain is the fact that Richard Hart's doing it for me.
Okay, that's a fair
But
call.
it's-
Both of you got
okay.
fair call.
That's
Both of
faster,
those are quite
cheaper.
good.
Faster, cheaper,
Yeah,
and
it's
you
fa-
get an
that-
airdrop.
Yours is the
Like,
same as
if
Texas.
this
So
were-
those two,
so-
those
And
two
you still
narratives are
get
good.
you still get an airdrop, and technically, if it goes after that other airdrop, the one that's next will be a bigger airdrop because the network's
Why?
growing. Because the network's growing.
Okay, so in number of tokens, but not necessarily dollar value. But
Well, if it's later on in the bull market, it will be dollar value.
So if,
look,
if they
guys.
merge-
Whether you think they're the biggest narratives or not, and you like where you rank them, they are. You have to admit they are still two of the large narratives of Pulse Chain. that we will
Tangent.
just be
Can I
putting
tell you
in the
where I
bin.
sit? I agree with you. They're big narratives, but let me tell you what I
don't
think
have a bin, though.
will be the best thing for Pulse Chain: to have a full vertical integration from wallet to chain to DEX, all that stuff working well together. That would be the best thing. The best user experience is the best thing that Pulse can launch with, in my
Sounds
opinion.
centralized to me, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe there's a half truth to what I just joked about. That when you've got the entire vertical integration, and Richard Hart is the single point of failure for the government to come in and be like, bro, shut it down.
It depends what, that wallet that's getting developed, is it going to be open source?
Yeah, hopefully.
It depends.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like if people can fork that wallet, then that is not a single point of failure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the idea of there being a level of like, not everything is run by Richard Hart. Like, I'm okay with that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you can run your own validator.
That's true. Have you finished thinking your node?
No, I haven't even got any of it yet.
Oh, of course, it hasn't even arrived yet. Hey, okay, yeah.
No.
So Tangent,
I'll let you know how that goes.
Please.
You'd be unhappy with getting another free copy of all your hex?
Do you mean this
proof of work?
This ETH split? Oh, that's actually a really good question. I guess my concern that the whole thing is going to collapse like a fucking house of cards, and this is another reason why I want Pulse Chain first, so the lifeboat is already there and tethered to the system, ready for people to flee on, not having to build the lifeboat while we're all sitting in the water in life jackets. Like, be like, okay, quick, now we need the lifeboat. I'm getting like attacked by sharks and freezing my ass off in this cold ass water. So my concern for the whole thing just going absolutely fucked and just completely wrecking everything is higher than my greed for the like, I'm going to get double my tokens on this proof of work, proof of stake thing. So I haven't really thought about it, but it is a good point. It's worth considering. So that should be something to be excited about as well.
But it's going to get screwed because something goes wrong. Like it's gone. My understanding is it's gone pretty seamlessly on all the test nets. They haven't had any dramas. So the only spanner in the works is a bunch of miners that have got a bunch of hardware that they don't want to stop pointing at a network to make gazillions of dollars. So they're some guy from, is it Singapore or China or something's been the focal point and rallying everyone together to try and bring the proof of work chain, to bring the miners across and fork the network. So they fork the network like ETH Classic. I don't see how I don't see it being something's going to implode.
Which one do we hold? Out of those ones, which one are we going to hold?
Well, if they fork it
Oh, yeah,
classic,
but-
we don't get anything. We'd have to buy.
No.
No.
I'm
just saying
he's
it's the
using
same
he's
scenario.
using ETC as an example.
Oh,
He's
okay.
not.
Yeah.
My concern, Jexa, just quickly before we move on, is censorship. It's that's my main concern, and also this is a smaller one. Is sometimes the testnet doesn't actually like so when you go from testnet, and this happens in software all the time. When you go from testnet to real, there is sometimes things that the testnet didn't pick up because it wasn't real. So there's a small chance for that. Although I admit that's small, but my biggest concern is the censorship. That's the thing. That's the reason why this whole postpone the merge thing is taken off on Twitter.
No, hang on. Explain what you mean. What's your problem with the censorship of the proof of stake chain?
So once you go proof of stake, the whole chain can basically be controlled by two entities, which are exchanges that currently hold everyone else's ETH. So it's like Coinbase and someone else. If they were to collude, those two entities, they have got so much stake that because they've got everyone else's coins they've collected everyone else's coins who have left it with them, they would be able to control the network. And I don't like that shit. Both of those entities are within the states, and both of those entities have indicated that they will comply with OFAC requirements. So they're basically already admitting that they're going to be state bitches, and then that's who has theoretical control.
I don't know that that's just on those, but I think Coinbase come out and said something where they would not want to censor at the protocol level, and Vitalik said they would get slashed if they did.
He said that, but when
the other thing though,
Brian Armstrong is going to go and sit in a jail cell for you for our right to
freedom?
I don't.
No, but
fuck no, he won't.
But even now, so there was a mining pool that just implemented all the OFAC sanctions the last day or two. So it doesn't matter whether it's proof of work or proof of stake.
Yes, that's true, but the percentage tolerance is higher in proof of work. So basically in proof of stake you only need it's 30 for this particular threat vector. In proof of stake network it's 33%, whereas in proof of work it's 51 or some shit like that. So it's got a higher tolerance. Dude, proof of work does have a higher tolerance against that threat vector.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't know about the. I thought the
and distribution, man, distribution. So the distribution of Ethereum miners. Sorry to go off on this tangent, but this is something that's quite important to me. I'm very anti-censorship. The distribution of Ethereum miners is much, much, much better than the distribution of where Ethereum is held. Much better. In fact, some of it is unknown, which is also good. You've got this unknown element that there's Ethereum miners where you don't know what country they are. You don't know what jurisdiction they're in. So and there's certainly not a dominant amount in America. It's much more distributed.
But can't you think of it like hash power? So at the moment, a lot of miners point their
by the way, that's true as well. With
hang on, let him speak.
You can change what pool you're pointed to.
Let him finish.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So they point to a pool, and if something goes wrong with that pool, they'll redirect it. But that's the same as people removing coins from an exchange and putting them into a validator of their own.
It's much less likely, man, because miners have shown a degree of technical competence. You can't mine when you're a fucking noob, but you can hold coins on Coinbase when you're a noob. So I would have much less hopefulness that people are going to stand up against censorship by removing their coins off Coinbase than miners redirecting from one pool to another. They've already showed the technical competence to point to one pool, so they know how to change it and point to another one.
I mean, but is that not just an education thing, though?
Yeah, but we've seen how far education gets in crypto. Look at the Hex community screaming from the tops of trees and mountains about scams and how amazing Hex is, and look how far that's got us.
I think you're underestimating how.
I think Hex has done very well, man. Hex has done very well.
In the last 3 years, it's done the best out of all.
I think you're underselling how good, what the Hex community has done. You know how Hex has performed.
How does this censorship?
I'm just saying.
Work? I don't understand. Why are you saying if it? Hang on, let's just get the arguments a bit more concrete. So you're saying that once the merge happens, there's a proof of work and a proof of stake thing. How does the censorship happen on the proof of stake?
Can I just quickly say, all I'm saying is, for how amazing Hex is, I think it should be further along. In terms of if
That's impossible.
noobs,
It's an imaginary
people
world
listened, if people listened to good quality information. No, because Jex is saying we just need to educate people to pull their coins off the exchange. I think the education is more difficult than it sounds, in my opinion. And I'm using Hex as an example.
No,
that's true as
well.
well.
Gatekeeping, though.
Yeah, but
So it's not only that. It's what we have to bear in mind is that the first interaction with crypto that people have is through an exchange. They've got that learning process of learning the exchange, and then they get into, they put it into their own wallet, and then they learn that they're not supposed to use the exchange at all. They're not supposed to leave it on the exchange, and so it's hard from that perspective. People begin by going into an exchange, so it's hard to tell them that, like, hey, just don't use the exchange apart from when you're onboarding, and then just go DEX for the rest of the time.
So sorry, Bluey, what was your question, Bluey? That
my question is, how is this censorship actually taking place on the proof of stake, or on the proof of work, as opposed to the proof of stake?
So I already said, on proof of stake, the two largest holders of ETH have already indicated that they will conform to OFAC regulations, and collectively, the two of them together would be able to control the network. Their combined
how do they
stake
actually
is
control
large
it?
enough.
So you've got two massive Ethereum stake positions.
Proof of stake. It's the amount you hold. So this is like their bag size is big enough.
So they're validators as well. So they're validators who have a proof of stake, and you're saying that they're going to collude to censor out people?
No. They've simply indicated that they will. They're American entity. They are entities within the US, so they are under the jurisdictional control of US law, and they have already stated that they will not that they'll follow, because they don't want to go to jail, man. So they have indicated that they will follow they've just said we will follow the law. Like we will if there's a requirement of us, we will follow it.
You're assuming that they just won't unstake things. They could just unstake and not run the validators.
Yeah, look,
it doesn't. We've just
there are many.
Abra just had a comment. Hang on. Abra just had a comment up. If the government wants to come down and crack down on miners or whatever, they will come down and they'll crack down. We've seen China ban miners. If the US, if they got in such a state that they said we're going to ban miners here as well, they would do it, and everyone would have to comply. You
guys are proving my point, though. Look at what happened with China. Bitcoin didn't stop. The miners just went to different jurisdictions. That was perfect.
Exactly. So why can't
exactly? Same thing will happen with proof of stake.
No, because so
that's how the rotation. That's how the validators on Pulse Chain will work. If a government comes along to one of the validators and says you have to stop, they say, "Okay, I stop."
And
then someone else comes in and replaces.
Their economic incentives. They're not just going to be like, "Oh, okay, we'll just send our ETH to someone else or whatever." Like, as in, how? So you know that the American, with the way that American law is, even if they would be like, "Oh, we'll set up this subsidiary company in a different jurisdiction, move the ETH over there," the US government's gonna be like, "Nah, that doesn't count. Like that you're still under our control, bitch." Like, it's not so.
It's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as those narratives. First of all, in the States, there's a number of different bodies which are supposedly policing or trying to control all of this sort of stuff, and they're competing with each other. Not to mention all the corruption that is within those.
Look, I've heard several game theoretical scenarios that work that are on your side of the argument, and while they are plausible, I don't think they are strong enough to put my mind at ease. That's all I'm saying. But I've heard things like this, like what you guys are saying, and other ones which are like, no, if that happened, then this would happen, and various kind of like war games. But do you want to risk the entire network? Do you want to risk the censorship resistance of the entire network on two people acting right in a censorship scenario, when they could just be like, actually, you know what? We can keep all the money that we're generating in fees and just censor the network, dog. Like, I want to see robust game theory and robust incentive structure. Not this, maybe someone will act right. Like, maybe the two guys that control the network will decide to act right. That's not good enough to me.
It comes down to monetary incentives as well. So if
That's
they
what I'm
hold
saying.
if they hold a massive amount of ETH, and by them start censoring the network, it's going to degrade the network and degrade the bag of ETH they're holding. They're not going to do it. It'll
be a situation where everyone loses. It'll be everyone loses.
No,
if the community forks off, and just goes like, fuck you guys, we'll fork off onto our own chain, slash the shit out of you guys for being like OFAC's little bitches, everyone loses. It'll be like an everyone loses thing.
That's what I'm saying. You are doing a big imaginary horrible. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think it's the other way around, where you need to see, like I already said this, but I want to see robust game theory and incentive structure arguments as to why it's not going to fuck up. Not we'll just trust that it'll all be fine, even though this is a realistic threat. We'll just trust that it's going to be okay on like maybe one of these other factors coming in. So in this case, I don't think you can use imaginary horribles. You need to present, if you're the one doing you're on the side of let's do the merge, you should have a robust argument of how it is going to, like, it's the responsibility is on you guys, like your side of the debate, to prove to our side of the debate that the shit is airtight, not the other way around. We shouldn't have to show you how it's going to fuck up, even though we're doing that anyway.
No, but what I'm saying is, I don't give a shit what network you're running on. If the government comes down and cracks down hard on miners or whatever, it doesn't make any fucking difference. Like, if they want to tear a network apart, they'll come and tear it apart by force if they have to.
But they haven't been able to do it to Bitcoin.
Oh, that's because they haven't really bothered trying. If they really wanted to.
It's
probably easier.
If the network is truly distributed across enough different jurisdictions, they cannot do it. That's the point. And here it wouldn't be. It would be 100%, basically, like a high percentage within America.
What did the miners in China do?
It is.
What did the miners in China do?
What do you mean not necessarily? They've done the math, Bluey. It fucking is.
They know where the ETH proof of stake validators are.
They know where the majority of the ETH is being held. It's in American entities, like Coinbase and that.
Doesn't have to be.
All right. Well, then get them to move it, and then I'll be like okay with it. But until it is,
I'll make a call to Brian right now.
That's my point, man. You can't. That's my whole point. It won't happen. You're talking about something that's very unrealistic, that they're just going to act right and they're going to look.
I totally get your point. I think
we're probably going to have to agree to disagree on this, but
no, I just think the network and the participants will work towards the best interest of the network, the same as it happens in Bitcoin and everything else. The monetary
it'll either work or it won't work.
And,
if people get censored, people will stop using it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And
so just on this topic, there's a website called proofofkeys.com. That's proofofkeys.com. And once a year, annually, on the 3rd of January, you're encouraged to take all of your crypto off exchange and put it into your own wallet on the 3rd of January. And that's something that I believe it was Trace Mayer came up with that. Yep. And it's something that you should do. You should be in the habit of doing that. You don't want to leave your stuff on exchanges. It's good practice to keep your own crypto. That's the whole point of crypto. You keep it yourself.
And Pulse Chain. For Pulse Chain, if you want to get your Pulse Chain airdrop, you have to have your keys, of your ERC20s and that sort of thing. So it's just always best practice. It stops you from getting butt fucked by middlemen, and you're also doing you're doing like proof of reserve. Like you're helping the entire crypto market to not be manipulated by derivative products and fraudulent centralized parties if you hold your own keys. It limits the ability for people to manipulate prices to the downside. So you should always hold your own keys. That's a big reason too.
I'm just listening to you guys debate this.
Yeah, sorry, man. I don't mean to sound like a whinging little bitch. Like,
no.
It's just something that's really important to me.
I like listening to you guys go back and forth on stuff. Sometimes it's us going back and forth, but I like listening to it. I'm hearing things that I hadn't considered. But I think whichever like whether it's proof of stake, proof of work, there are going to be attack vectors. There are going to be things that can bring it down. And just to summarize what I've been hearing, Tangent, you think that for Ethereum, it's more serious than it is for like Bitcoin with its proof of work. And what I hear Jexa saying is he's saying, well, look, if the government wanted to go after Bitcoin, it could go after miners if it wanted to do that. But what I see with Bitcoin is I see that Bitcoin is further down the path when it comes to regulatory, acceptance by the powers that be. They like politicians are into it, which that in itself makes like I don't love that. I don't love that personally because they the only reason they're doing it is to get their filthy little fingers into it, right? They're not doing it for some sort of benevolent reason. They're doing it because they want to control it.
They want to get their hooks into it.
So we just have to be aware, no matter what network it is, if it gets big enough to be, a large value like ETH or Bitcoin, it's going to be something that's on their radar, and it's always going to be at threat. And that's why it's important to always have moving targets in crypto. Like that's why you always need good developers developing new stuff. That's why modularity in crypto, like in the code, is so important. If you need to switch something up, you can, and that's I guess that's why I like Ethereum, but what you're saying is true though. What it seems true to me, like there is like seems to be like a threat there that like if two entities hold a lot of that ETH and then it's staked under their control, that could be a problem, right? It could be a problem.
I totally agree with that. But I think the communities will be smart enough to take action.
Do we know yet? Like,
hey, 43. Sorry.
Do we know yet that the Tornado Cash? I was just looking at Spenny's comment there, and the Tornado Cash developer who got arrested. Do we know actually why he's been arrested yet? Because when I first heard it, people just assumed it was because he was working with Tornado Cash. But does anyone know the reason for the arrest yet?
No, I don't think it's been released.
No.
But
so it's not necessarily that they're going after developers. This could be something completely unrelated. Yeah.
The
timing's very suspicious though.
That makes it quite weird. It's only one developer that they decided to put in jail. It's like seems very odd.
One theory is that government just was overzealous and wanted to like conform with America's shit and actually went beyond what the sanctions were intended to do. And that's why you didn't see the developers in the US being arrested at the same time, because you are right that typically if you were going to arrest developers like that, you would arrest them all at the same time, coordinated attack, so that no one can flee.
Typically, so
that no one can flee. You would do coordinated arrests. So I think that theory could be true, that government just thought, shit, we better do the right thing here and arrest this guy so that America doesn't get mad at us.
I think if governments are going to start trying to censor code, they're barking up the wrong tree. That's not something they can win. You cannot win that.
Correct.
Coders can code in a dark room somewhere and upload it anonymously to the internet in some way, shape, or form, and there's nothing that can be done about it. Simple as that. So they're barking. If they're going to go down that path, that is going to be guerrilla warfare, and I just don't think it's going to pan out. it's going to be a waste of everyone's time and money.
And look, we don't know the full story, and it may be that could be that they've been overzealous, or it could be that someone put in there as a bit of a show trial. We don't know, but it could also be that he was legit helping someone nefarious.
Money launderers.
You don't know. So why arrest one person and not the other? Well, there could be a very valid reason for it. So
43.
I'm sure we won't find out till they're good and ready to tell us, though. That's for sure.
Did you guys see that Aztec Protocol are doing grants for privacy focused devs and shit? So that if you want to make a privacy focused protocol or implement privacy to an existing protocol, either by being in the team or doing it like as a third party bolt on, they will actually provide funding, which is pretty epic.
Wow. That is.
Yeah. And
have you looked into that at all, Tangent? Any deeper?
No. Other than flicking you the link, I haven't had time.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a play with it today. I think you still run the same issue. Like you've got front ends that could be censored, and so I don't know how we. The thing that I hope comes out of all of this is it pushes
IPFS
the space. Yeah, potentially, yeah, but it pushes the space in a direction where they go, okay, now we've got to get serious about making sure that everything is totally decentralized, can't be shut down, can't be censored.
Yeah, well,
so
if there was any
doubts,
that like now it's very, very clear. You have to assume that government is going to be an antagonistic, like actively trying to fuck up whatever you've created, basically.
Yep. I think I do like what Tangent said, though. If they're coming this hard after it, it must mean that the technology works pretty well.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and just in relation to Tornado Cash, I mean, those contracts are still working. What they've been able to do is identify to all the users where the problems are. The problems are with not running your own node. And I guess you need to run your own ETH node if you truly want to be able to use some of these contracts and not get censored by third parties.
I love the dusting attacks, man. That shit makes my day. By the way, whoever is doing that, you're my fucking hero. You're my fucking hero. Like whoever did that shit, because it's not actually that cheap, because the minimum ETH thing is 0.1 ETH, right? So this dusting attack is costing this person like $200 per attack, like per address that they want to fuck up.
You might be able to do
how
less.
How much it costs?
I mean,
you might be able to do less, Tangent. You might be able to do less. You can do custom amounts.
You could use Nova, or you could like drop into an address and then go from there. But I think this person doesn't even want there to be one hop of plausible deniability of being like, well, it actually went to that address and then to me. So they're going straight out of the Tornado protocol, 0.1 ETH, and they're sending it to known like celebrity addresses, known crypto furus, and actual protocol level shit as well. Sending it into well-known DeFi protocols to force everyone's hand. It forces everyone onto the same team. It makes people have to choose a side. Yeah. No one can sit neutral. Yeah. You have to choose a side. You need to either bitch out or get on the winning team.
Can't the people...
You did see what happened with that, though. They've unblocked specific addresses that were dusted.
Yeah,
it's just a database.
But at least that highlights the hypocrisy, man. At least that highlights that it's highlights that ETH is centralized as shit, and it also highlights that there's like
what it's shown us. What they did.
It's not ETH that's getting blocked. It's gate. It's centralized parties that are getting
DeFi.
So what's great about what they've done is that by doing that, I agree with you, Tangent. Those dusting attacks, great idea, because it's forced them to unblock people now, unblock accounts, wallets now, and those wallets, I guess you can argue if you've received anything from Tornado Cash, you can make the same argument. Well, these people have been unblocked, and so
there's so many easy workarounds to all of this. You know what I mean? Like if you've been using Tornado Cash and you've got a whole lot of ETH, then just bridge it to like something like Secret Network or like, and then you put it to another address and then you're done. You're solved.
But would you risk 30 years in jail to pull, if you're an American citizen and you had ETH in Tornado, going and pulling it out, you're risking 30 years jail sentence.
You just bridge it. You just bridge it over to the Secret Network, come back over to a new ETH address. You got a freshie.
Yeah, man. But I was saying in the Twitter spaces that I was in earlier with Bob Lagai, no privacy technology can be trusted 100%, right? Like you don't know, in 5 years' time, someone could work out a way to de-anonymize what you did, and then you're sitting in a jail cell for 30 years. I don't trust any tech to the level that I would.
It's not illegal to bridge your token somewhere and then to send them somewhere else.
It is if you have to pull them out of Tornado Cash first. Like as it, so I'm saying for US citizens who have got ETH in Tornado Cash and it's stuck in there, they'd have to pull it out first to be able to do this idea that you're saying.
Yeah, they can't move that ETH from that address.
Yeah, not without breaking the law.
What?
Because you're interacting with a sanctioned entity. So
not necessarily.
Secret
Network is not a sanctioned entity.
Tornado Cash is though, and to get
your ETH out. What I'm saying is if you've been dusted, that means you've got a tainted address. So then, if you try to send your ETH to an exchange, they're going to block you or whatever.
That too. That's a different example, but that still counts as well. So once your address has been tainted,
to other addresses and stuff. It's not stopping.
Not really, because it's an account-based system. So which ETH was the ETH that was the dirty ETH?
But that's how they're doing the dusting. They're sending it to anyone they want to send it to.
Theoretically, you could try transferring out all of the ETH, like minus 0.1. Like, so you leave 0.1 in the account and move everything else out and be like, look, I assume that's the ETH and I've just left that there. You don't even need to do that.
You don't even need to do that. All you do is you got your ETH, you send it to the Secret Network. All of those are encrypted, those transactions. So you need the private key in order to see those transactions. Then you bridge it back to Ethereum. You've got yourself Ethereum in a fresh address which has no connection to
you're still risking jail time if the privacy on that path ever breaks. Because once it's tainted, look, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, man.
That's ridiculous,
bro.
So you're saying that in 20 years when they manage to unencrypt these transactions, they're going to come back and you sent that was actually from Tornado Cash. They're going to backtrack like that, like years down the track. Dude, I don't mean your imagination is too strong.
Bluey, I don't mean to be rude, man, but I've listened to a shit ton of pods with actual lawyers from the US talking about this exact issue, and I'm just parroting what the fuck they said. So unless you think that you have a better knowledge base than these like legal professionals who are talking on this matter, that I am just parroting, then what I'm saying is correct. Once your address is tainted,
I think there's simple ways around that tangent. I really do. I think there's simple ways around that can't be argued or disputed.
One of the lawyers says that you can apply for an exception. So you can actually go to OFAC and say, look, this is a situation that I'm in. Can I please apply for an exemption? And then they may or may not offer you a written exemption for your particular situation to allow you to interact with a sanctioned address. And then there's also the potential for a group of people to petition for general exemptions. So that basically it would be where they would say, look, if you are a United States citizen and this particular thing has happened to you and like all your shit's legit, but you're in this, you fall into this category, then you are allowed to do whatever, extract your shit, blah, do this, not like what, and it would have instructions on how to.
What imaginary world are those people living in? Like that's people sticking their necks out. People unsanctioning addresses is like more unlikely than them sanctioning.
No, they're not. Away. Bro, they're not unsanctioning the Tornado addresses.
Legal risk.
They're just giving that would be OFAC giving an exemption to the user.
Okay, so they've signed this whole thing is ridiculous. We're talking about there's two separate things here. There's the technicality,
I don't make the rules,
and
man.
what's possible, and then there's the legality. With the legality, yes, everyone is going to say whatever they want to say in order to try to push their agenda. Okay.
Yeah, and my point is, are you going to risk a 30-year jail time on the fact that you're saying I'm going to fuck the law off and I'm going to use this privacy
No,
tech?
it's not.
And
it's
then
not
if the
fucking-
privacy breaks on it,
there's no
it
laws
is.
there's no law that you can't send a tornado cash after tornado cash. You can't send that money somewhere else. And they can't stop you from doing that. Like it's technologically impossible for them to stop you, and so
they can't stop you, but they can jail you. That's my point.
but they're going to start running around like trying to find people who have sent Ethereum to another chain and then back again to Ethereum. Like,
Well,
what are you talking about?
Would you risk it, dude? It's a 30-year jail sentence.
I would. I would totally risk
30-year jail
that's
sentence.
That's non-risk. That's incredibly low risk. Like, I wouldn't even be concerned
Hey,
myself.
tangent. Last week, you were talking about a guy who said, "Fuck it, I'm not wearing a mask, or I'm not following these rules," and that's what everyone should have done to stop them having the power over the people.
Yeah, that
right?
didn't carry a 30-year jail sentence. That really didn't.
But
That
it's the
did
same.
not carry
It's the same
a
philosophy.
30-year maximum
So
penalty.
the bigger the stick, the more you comply.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
it needs
more
to be
violence.
factored in. It
the
needs
more
to be factored
violence,
in.
More violence.
Yeah, unfortunately, that does need to be
Tangent,
factored in.
I do not expect this line of argument from you. I do not expect this from you. I expect a different line of argument. From what I've heard you talk about for the last 2 years, I'm surprised I'm hearing this from you, that you want people to bend over, fucking bend over, man, and cop it. I don't understand.
You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that. I never said I want people to bend over and cop it. I never said that. I'm simply parroting what legal experts from multiple podcasts that I've listened to have commented about this situation. And in my opinion, the way, like Bluey says, it's a low risk. Risk is calculated as probability of happening times the consequence. And in this case, what he's saying is the probability of getting caught is low, not the risk, because the consequence is a 30-year fucking jail time. That's a huge consequence. So when you multiply those two things together, it actually it's not a low risk. It's a medium to high risk.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the end of this anyway, in terms of people that are
That's true
obviously
as well.
smarter than us and can challenge this at a constitutional level. I think it's not done yet, and
absolutely, it's just getting started.
I think, yeah, that's right. So for them to come in and sanction Tornado Cash, or they've sanctioned a certain amount of addresses in Tornado Cash. Now, I don't want to get into the should you still use it or not, but I would like to think that they're going to get pushback on censoring code, a tool, essentially, a protocol. So I think that will all get pushed back on, and I'd like to think, unless everything is that fucked up already that we can't get that cleared. But I'd like to think that there's a pretty good case for that being rejected at a constitutional level in the States.
Especially in the States. Code is speech over there. Code is speech in the States. It's speech.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's going to get challenged, and challenged hard.
Yep.
Well, this same lawyer was saying that if you've got downloadable software, that's easier to defend as speech is protected and code is speech. Whereas if it's a front end that someone controls, it's harder to make that First Amendment argument. So
you're saying if you
provide the software for users to download so that they are running their own instance of a wallet or some kind of code base on their own machine, rather than it's a front end that someone comes to and the front end's being controlled, you've got the ability to, as the web host, you've got the ability to control, censor, change what's on there, change what coins are accepted, change who can and can't use it, etc. So that becomes a harder legal argument to use First Amendment rights of speech is protected.
But Tornado is not that, though.
It had a front end.
Yeah, but the front end doesn't mean that's not the important part. What they've sanctioned is the Tornado Cash addresses.
He was just making a general comment that, like, if you say if Tornado Cash had been like an application that you download to your computer rather than a website you go to, he's saying it may have been even easier to defend it under First Amendment rights. But can I just say something to, like, because Bluey seems like just blown away that some of these things can actually be realistic commentary. I spend a lot of time with my tax accountant, like, getting creative about things or pitching ideas to him where I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? And sometimes we get to a point in a discussion where I'm like, this shit is fucking nonsense. This shit is ludicrous. Like, how do people hold these two things and say that this isn't completely fucking the most retarded shit ever? And he's like, look, tax law has no one, like, the government doesn't even try to pretend that it's like fair and logical. It's just, it is what it is, and then you just work within those rules to best do your tax situation, right? Like, they set the rules, and then you play within the rules, and that's what's going on here, Bluey. Like, I don't make the fucking rules, man. Like, I'm not saying that this is like fair or logical. I'm just saying this is how it is based on legal experts that I have listened to on this topic.
My understanding from what you've been saying is that mostly they just have threats that they can offer, and yes, they can sanction these addresses, and in that sense, like, I guess those people can't send it to an exchange, or if they have USDC in there, that USDC can be cancelled or whatever, so they can't send that around. It's just that people are going to. My point is that people are going to find ways around these things. Like, so people will find a way around if they have Ethereum that's in a banned address. They'll work out ways to get around these obstacles, and that's the solution. That's development of crypto. You know what I mean? Like, it's censorship resistant, and so.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you, Bluey, on that. The risk is, like, sanctions. You just see what happened to Russia. I mean, they literally stole people's yachts, money, assets, everything. Like, they don't fuck around with stuff like that. So if you think you're going to play cute with it, they'll throw you in a cell for a long time.
But the irony is they end up shooting themselves in the foot by doing it.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't. But what I'm saying is, if you go against it, they'll make a fucking example of you. Just for fun of it.
Yeah, like, don't underestimate how far they're willing to take that shit.
If you're going to be targeted, they will find a way to target you. Like, and if censoring your addresses doesn't work, they'll find another way. That's and they do target people to set examples because that instills fear in the society. But
totally.
But the long game is if there's more of us than them, and they haven't got the resources to control all of this. They'd have to control people at a micro level. Like, so the numbers just aren't on the controller's side.
I agree with I totally agree with what you're saying, Bluey, from a technical standpoint. Yeah, the people will find a way around it. And that's what I hope out of all of this shit that, like I said before, I hope that's the one thing that comes out of this is we, as a crypto community, we come up with more robust ways to protect against this sort of shit and keep privacy how it should be, and stop government intervention where they're overreaching, and everyone knows they're overreaching, but they're going to try it.
Governments are still going to thrash around. They're going to come up with all sorts of ridiculous, stupid rules and stupid laws, and they're going to try to. And the more they realize, like, at the moment, they still don't realize how little control they have over cryptocurrency. Like, once they start,
I think they got a fair idea. I think the people that matter they got a fair idea.
Hence the censorship that's gone down. Hence,
I'm thinking about Australian politicians
unless they knew.
Oh no, you're right. The average politician has got no frigging clue, but you're kidding yourself if you think there's not elements in that are tasked to understand all of this shit and
Yeah, but you look what they do. Like what's Australia doing? We're writing a paper that's going to take how long to come out?
Australia is ridiculous, mate. That's So you're talking at different levels. You've got legislation and laws and things like that. That's one level, and that's people have no frigging clue, and they're just fumbling in the dark. But then there would be government departments in the US that are very, very technically capable and understand this shit inside and out.
Yeah, doesn't the White House have like a head of crypto now?
Yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
Adam Stokes did a video a couple of days ago with the guy Blue Bum that you did an interview with, Martin North.
Oh, Martin North, yeah.
And they were talking. That was a really good video. They were talking about the Australian, the ex-Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and how he had overstepped his power.
He took over the power of ministries and could just dictatorially start doing things, and he did it in secret, and the Governor General colluded with him to sign him in secret. It's pretty crazy. Like,
nothing's happened to it. There's been no fallout from that either, other than we shouldn't have done that. That's the best they've done.
And you know what? They keep it out of the news, and no one gives a shit.
Yep.
Or they make it they downplay it, in the news, and then so people take it as
Have they fixed it? Have they fixed it with the new government? Have they fixed it?
They would have to do it every time. As from what
fixing it. Yeah, fixing it will mean
that.
So it fixed itself when there was at the election. Okay.
Yeah, it fixes. Yeah, from what he thinks, but that wasn't. He didn't confirm it though. Just shout out to Bitfinesse for the super chat $9.99. They have to cram us all together and add pressure until we explode. That's what trees and seeds do. It'll create the new thing. These crazy bastards.
Nice chat.
Shout out to Bitfinesse. Yeah.
That's right.
Diamonds are made under pressure, aren't they? So that's what
That's
it. The more they turn the screws on, the more people will evolve and innovate.
Shit, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we said this last week. This is the then they fight you era now. They're throwing everything at it. They're trying to lock down on all the gateways. Literally trying to attack at protocol levels now.
So they're ban cash. They're trying to ban cash.
Yeah. They're having a good crack at everything at the moment. So yeah, if we can get through this and keep fighting, I think there's got to be, in my world, there's a good light at the end of the tunnel, and I think it changes the dynamic on everything. If this space can move forward and resist all those pushes from government and the powers that be, I think it's a paradigm shift.
Absolutely.
So these,
I'm hopeful.
These politicians get up to all sorts of mischief, I think. I mean, Boris Johnson, wasn't he partying during like the COVID lockdowns? He was partying, dude.
Yeah, there's two sets of rules, mate.
Who was someone? Yeah, Finbear's writing about some.
She's a woman. She's the Prime Minister of Finland, and there was some
coke
videos where she was partying and stuff, and they were using kind of euphemisms that, like, they were calling themselves the something club or something like that. That basically means they're smoking loads of coke. Apparently, Zelensky's pretty hard on the coke as well.
Oh, he needs to be, man. He needs to be. Oh, by the way, I don't know about you guys, but is Russia like winning that shit over there?
Oh, they won it in March, dude. They've been winning it. They won it a long time ago. It's just a matter of time now. It's just that it's not reported in Western media.
So just was there ever any doubt?
Guys, yeah. I always thought that was what was going to happen. Another big shout out to Bitfinesse again for the super chat.
Doubling down, is he?
So push back as hard as you can. There's no one coming for us. We are all we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Wag me.
It's pretty rare that it's pretty rare that anyone like does as good a job as Richard in terms of being interviewed about Hex and that. And two interviews that stick out in my mind is one that you just reminded me about, where Bluey was on with that guy. I forget his name. You just said it. That was an incredibly good job that Bluey did of representing Hex. And more recently, there was one with Crypto 7, and I forget again who that was with. But I was like, damn, this guy is really good at representing Hex. So those are two. You guys can come up with other examples if you can think of them, or chat can come up with examples where people have represented Hex really well publicly.
I can't think off the top of my head, but I'll have to go back and watch that. The 7 one, I haven't seen that. He turns out a lot of videos.
It's difficult to get a good balance. It's difficult to get a good balance where it's like, where you're not just like, you know, where you're giving some of the technical details so people can know that it's not just like dumb shit, but scaling it back enough so that people who are new to crypto or don't know about crypto also don't get immediately lost and they're like, that's too hard for me to work out. So,
yeah.
Right,
so
guys, we've been going for about 45 minutes.
Papa Boner made me promise in the Twitter Spaces that we wouldn't run into their time.
Because they say such important things for their show.
Whoa!
But seriously, like I've watched them a number of times, and it's like, I mean, people think we're casual. They're like,
I get what you're saying.
Hey,
I
just want to say now that I don't want to have anything to do with any beef with any other shows. I like the Wake Up Hex crew. I love and respect the Wake Up Hex crew. Blue Bum, you're on your own, brother.
No, I like and respect them.
I'm not jumping into this fight.
No. He's not. Bluey's not saying that like that.
He's just saying they suck. That's what.
No. I think you need to be. I think you need to get the subtlety here. Is that it's like, what is it like? Their content's awesome, but what is it that if their start time was pushed by like 5 or 10 minutes, it's not really that dramatic, right? It's not like there's someone sitting there at like 5:02 being like, I'm gonna
get through these points.
I'm going to invest my life savings in 5 minutes time if these guys are like, I need, you know what I mean? Like, it's not critical information that is like going to impact people if it's a little bit late. But out of respect, we wouldn't deliberately do it. But if sometime we accidentally ran into their time, it's not that big a deal, right?
Like if we just sat here talking about how we wouldn't deliberately do it for long enough, I reckon we could do it.
I think we've only done it once. I think we've only done it once or twice. Like literally.
Maybe twice.
Do we know?
Maybe twice.
That's pretty good. We've been running this show for over 100 episodes, right?
Yeah. 115.
They're on half an hour, yeah.
So 2 out of 100. That's 2%. That's less than 2%.
Do you guys know when that stream starts? To the guys in the chat, anyone know?
I think now. Like I think.
No, I think it starts in half an hour. I think it starts at another half an hour from now.
Let's not risk it. We could type in we can type in 6 minutes. We're 6 minutes to the half.
So they better do a pretty good show now.
No, 35 minutes. Cabana Crypto just hang on, brother. Has just confirmed 35 minutes from now is when. Yeah, that's what I thought, because sometimes we have actually gone for like 2.5 hours. Plus.
Oh, it's head-on pumping, is it?
Yeah, it's up at 24% today.
Jesus. Man, that thing, when it pumps. Like it.
It's got,
so let's wind up the stream so Tangent can go sell some.
Yeah.
How did
That's
you
got
know?
a decent liquidity pool in there too.
It's got a few liquidity pools actually.
I'm looking at one here. It's got a million in the liquidity pool, and it's still pumping pretty hard.
Is this inside the wall with Hex where it has to like lift the Hex price with it? It must be.
No, I haven't checked. That was a.
Well, it's tied, so it's
I was
pulling
looking
it
on
up.
the
Just
USDC
the liquidity pools.
It's madness. Oh, it's broken a setup trend line. Like it's broken a TD setup trend line to the downside. So that's massive. Like as in, you would expect it to continue up. And on the 4 hourly, it's the TD count looks good. Like it's got legs. So it looks like it's going hard.
Mm-hmm.
And will continue up. That's hectic.
It's good.
All right, guys, let's wind it up. Jexy, you got any last words, mate?
No, I don't actually. No, have fun, everyone. Yeah, fight for your right to privacy.
Yeah, fight for your right for privacy.
Privacy is important.
And if Wake Up with Hex wants to have a fight in
Cross-stream
Vegas or something, I don't know. Let's do something. Nah, yeah, all good. Watch Hedron. Buy some. Dollar cost average for the next couple of months, because if you think now's pumping, wait till you see it in a few months.
Sorry, can I just do a PSA as well? So if no one's paying attention to, because we briefly spoke about the Maximus guys as well, their code's currently out for audit, so they're going to launch very soon.
They're on testnet.
Right.
They're on testnet at the moment as well.
Yeah,
Is that for the 10-year? Is that for the 10-year maxi? Is that for the Decky or whatever? Desi?
The whole
for
thing.
Desi, for the whole box of dice. I think
the whole thing.
somewhere around that. I think they were talking about the 18th next month. So just.
I think they're looking at charts at when a whole lot of Hex is going to come out, and they're probably going to time it with that. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait. Well, who knows? I've got no idea.
Shit.
Yeah, so just
Do you think-
if you're interested
Do
in
you
that,
think the
keep an
price
eye on
of
it.
Do you think the price of Maxi might go down once there's like an alternative that's almost as good that's actually at parity?
No, because Maxi is way better than all of them. First of all, you get all of the bigger pays better bonus.
The 10-year
Maxi.
one.
Plus,
the
people have
10-year
been
one's pretty
burning
close.
Maxi.
You burn
Pardon?
Maxi to get other stuff.
People have
So-
been burning
Good point
Maxi.
as well,
Like, did we mention this? Like, the Hedron
Yeah,
is the largest like Maxi holder now, and they burnt 1 million tokens. Well, that's just free money to
Jesus.
people. This is giving away
Yeah,
money.
I was hoping we were going to have Dip Capture on tonight, so I could quiz him about a few things. But
He's in a terrible time zone for us. Like he's like at the worst time zone. We're gonna have to organize a separate show for him, I think.
yeah, we might have to do that for a couple of the guys. It's a bit hard over in the States.
Tangent.
Sounds good.
Last words.
Mine's a minor apology. Sometimes I hear myself in these streams and I'm like, man, I sound a little bit like a whining little bitch. And so I just wanted to impart onto the chat. Fuck you, 43. I just wanted to impart on the chat, like make the chat know that obviously I've got mad love and respect for everyone on this stream and within the community. And sometimes when we're arguing about shit, I hope that no one thinks that it's like legitimately that we're like legitimately annoyed at each other or whatever.
You don't even have to say that, bro. We know.
It's true. Yeah. And as in, it should. I assume it should be
We're
obvious.
We're shooting the shit. You know.
And like I think it's important to stay free.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being on stream tonight. Thanks to Sammy for popping in. Unfortunately, the internet connection was not great.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Richard Hart, he did a couple of streams this week. He did actually, I think he did 3 streams. He did the Fit and Fresh. He did
Jay Waller,
and he also did Valuetainment Money,
Bitboy Crypto, and Valuetainment.
Yeah. So what's interesting about those 4 streams is that
I was expecting that to be Patrick
Money.
Bet-David. Is that the same? Oh, okay. So it's the same. It's owned by Patrick Bet-David. Yeah. It's like an arm.
Must
of,
be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason I'm pointing that out is because none of them were on Richard Hart's channel. So if you go to Richard Hart's channel, you won't find it. But if you go searching for them, you'll find them on those other channels. They're all great content because we get a bit of an insight, more of an insight into Richard Hart's way of thinking. And what else can I say? If you haven't had some, Go get some Canotto.
Kinotto.
Try it. If you don't know what Canotto is, go fuck yourself. You should.
Is that like Chinzano or something? Is that like the lemon drink or whatever?
It's like
Chinzano's
oranges.
alcoholic. Kinotto is just a soft drink.
It's like made from oranges.
It's like a little bit bitter. You've never had Kinotto? Kinotto. Is that just a Melbourne thing or something?
I had to write it down. I
can't believe you didn't even hear of it. Like for me, it's just ubiquitous. Kinotto.
Maybe
it's a Melbourne thing, hey?
Maybe there's a lot of.
Where would they sell it? Where would they sell it over here? That's a good point. Melbourne has quite a big Italian and Greek culture. Like
There's someone saying it's a ladies' beverage. Who the fuck is this saying it's a ladies' beverage?
Ouch.
Anyway, I should ban this
the new term that everyone should use: Barnsley
motherfucker in time.
Beta bitch boy. Barnsley beta bitch boy is the new way. It's the new insult within the Hex community that we're using.
I just put born again hexagon in timeout for saying that Canotto is a ladies' drink. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
By the way, I'll also outro that. You know how we lost that sponsorship? Hex community is awesome at like internet detective work. Went and found all these tweets from their club members that were just like flat out like racist comments and shit, and just like put all together and went like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? Called them out and just dominant, like shit way worse than anything that our community has done. And like, how about now? Because I think it must be like a country town or something, or it must be like slightly out of town where just statistically racism's a little bit higher, you know, like as you this is not just in England, this is in all countries. It's fine. It's just
oh man,
it's not fine. It's what do you call it? It's like common. It's commonplace. So
I know what you're talking about. I'm in a small town.
Unwrapped. They fucking opened a door to something that what's that whole saying about throwing rocks in glass houses or whatever? Those little Barnsley beta bitch boys, they live in glass houses.
Oh, bro!
And all they own is rocks. That's all they own is rocks.
Speaking about throwing rocks, did you see the video at the start? Did you miss that video at the start?
No, I missed it.
Let's watch that again as our outro. And then
should we run it into Good Morning Hex's time? Just
it's very short.
We've tried hard.
All right, show me.
But we'll end on this, okay? And then I want you guys to stick in the chat after just for a minute. So here we go.
See you, everyone.
See you later, guys.
Says. Oh, I have seen this.
Miss.
You showed us this. I remember. Yeah.
Tossed a rock and he fucking.
I don't know why I think it's Mashinsky.
Mashinsky was throwing rocks at Richard Hart, man.
Richard Hart and he's beat up.
Oh, these motherfuckers gonna cause an accident right here. Oh shit! Oh shit!
I can't believe he just got up and walked away.
Fuck! He fucking hit his ass hard. Just ran his ass the fuck over. There he goes.
Wait, the first time I watched that video, it was on mute. So just then, with the commentary, I thought that was one of you boys. I thought that was one of you guys making that commentary, like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, that was hectic, man.
We're still live, but anyway, see you later, guys. We'll see you next week.
Guys.
And much love to Wake Up Hex crew. We love you guys. I mean, doesn't, but we do. So take it easy.
See you.